Mitch, look. Mitch, please. Mitchell, look, I can explain.
You lied to me.
No, that wasn't the deal. He told me. Mitch, please.
You betrayed me. You used me. You fucked up my face. And now...
Mitch, please. I can explain.
You have my permission to die.
If there's one thing the last 20 years or so have taught us, is that hype is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it can bring tons of attention to a project and create a loyal fanbase. On the other hand, it sets lofty expectations that when not achieved, can turn that same audience against you just as quickly as they join the hype train.
Strike three, Gallo down look.
When looking at games such as No Man's Sky or Cyberpunk, they share one thing in common. They look absolutely stunning in previews and demos, but the actual game is disappointing to say the least. And if there's one DDLC mod you can say fits this very description, it's Exit Music Redux. Alright, before I go any further, in this video I'm going to be referring to both the original Exit Music and Exit Music Redux. So to save any confusion, I'm going to be referring to the original Exit Music as Exit Music, and Exit Music Redux will be referred to as Redux or EMR. The idea of EMR came into existence due to Oliver Norton, the creator of Exit Music, thinking that it was trash and in need of a remake. And it was in May of 2020 that Wretched Team would get to work on what would be the biggest mod in DDLC modding history. After months of working on the mod, Wretched Team would release the demo to seemingly universal praise from the wider community. It was at this point that the initial hype from the announcements and the fact that the mod's a remake of a classic ballooned into something much bigger. The hype bubble would be sustained all the way until the mod was released over a year later on October 10th, 2021. However, once people got their hands on the mod and played it for themselves, the community became split on their opinions of Redux. You either loved everything about it and considered it a classic, or hated every second of it past the demo. It should be obvious by the title of this video which camp that I fall under.
Well, I'm just going to go right ahead and say it. This is indeed based.
So, how did Redux fail to live up to this hype? Well, that's what we look to find out. Come take a ride with Papa Stalin as we discuss why Exit Music Redux is a disappointing remake. Ad time, motherfucker. This video is sponsored by your mother, who I had a very fun time with last night, and while we were sitting back playing some Mario Kart, and then afterwards doing very epic things, she said that she would subscribe to the Sentral YouTube channel and then donate some money over to the Patreon. And if your mother's advice is anything that you should follow, then maybe you should consider doing the same thing too. She said for you to go and subscribe to the channel, press the like button on this video right now, and then maybe if you can, donate $1 or $2 to the Patreon, or maybe to the YouTube membership. Do whatever you feel like doing. She says she doesn't really care as long as you're supporting the channel. And this is coming straight from your mother's mouth, not from mine. I'm just the messenger. So with that being said, if you can do any of those things, it would be greatly appreciated. But I also appreciate you just sitting back, watching the video, and watching me tear into what is objectively a bad mod, by my opinion at least. Although, yeah, it should be considered objectively a bad mod. So with that being said, I'm glad you clicked on this video, and I hope that you continue and watch it all the way to the end. And with that being said, thank you for watching, and let's get back to the video. In order to understand why Redux was made in the first place, we need to take a look at the original exit music.
Let's go! Let's go!
Exit music was released around August 8th, 2018. The reason I say around August 8th is because I can't find an exact date for when it was officially released, which we'll get into a bit later. Back in 2018, the modding scene was in its infancy. There wasn't much competition in the modding sphere, so releasing a good mod around this time would catch the attention of tens or even hundreds of thousands of people, since DDLC was still pretty popular.
I've got my cock in my hand right now. I'm stroking it.
It was essentially the perfect storm to propel exit music to legend status. Exit music quickly became the biggest, most popular mod at the time. To put into perspective just how big of a deal exit music was, Bijou Mike's first video playing it gained 1.3 million views.
What? I told you what was gonna happen. I told
You heard me correctly, I did not stutter. 1.3 million views, a feat to this day that has not been accomplished by any other mod. Not only that, it literally jump-started the career of AfroZero, the ultimate Monica simp.
Man, I'm dead.
Going from 200 subs to a little over 1,000 in only a month, with his exit music videos to this day still being some of his most popular videos, and what was the catalyst that jump-started everything. But with time, people started to notice the flaws with exit music, such as the characterization of Monica and Yuri, as well as a seemingly contrived scene at the end to push the story along to its desired conclusion. And with the release of bigger and more polished mods in the future, exit music seemingly got pushed to the side as a footnote in the history of DDLC mods. It also didn't help that the original mod got taken down due to copyright issues, which is why I said I do not know the exact date for when this mod came out, but we can roughly assume it was around August 8th, since that was the earliest video that I was able to find. So I'm gonna go with that. As I said in the intro, Oliver hated exit music since he saw that it could be improved and made better, which it definitely could have. I'm not denying that. Now, I would go into more detail about the aspects of exit music, but since this isn't an exit music review, I'll just say that despite wanting to improve the mod and make it better, which in some aspects it definitely did, Redux ultimately would fall into the same traps as exit music and also create entirely new problems that weren't in the original at all. It would be disingenuous to talk about all the bad things without mentioning the good. And there are some things that Redux does that improves on the original. The biggest improvement by far has to be the soundtrack. With 27 tracks in total, each song at worst is mid and at best is absolutely amazing. You can legitimately listen to these songs on their own, they're that good. In fact, as you may have heard, I'm playing some of these songs in the background throughout this video. The custom CGs can admittedly be hit or miss. It just depends if you're a fan of the art style. For me personally, I like a couple of them, but the most important one in the entire mod looks like complete shit.
It's facts! It's facts!
I will give them credit for the fact that all the CGs do look better than Summer Hope.
What?
Stream, my nigga, what I need you to do is I need you to take a nearest rope that you got, wrap it around, if you got a garage or a fucking stairway, and hang yourself, nigga.
Yuri's character is improved, but at the cost of basically writing her out of the mod. She has like 2 or 3 scenes throughout the entire 8-hour runtime. So if you're a Yuri fan, I hate to break it to you, but she does not have much screen time at all, and I would suggest looking elsewhere. Sairi and Monica are surprisingly the only reasonable characters throughout this entire mod, as they are the only characters to not come down with the grave disease known as complete dumbass syndrome.
Huh.
I know, it's surprising considering how they were in the original. Okay, there's the good out of the way. Let's get to the bad already, damn it! Wretched team went into EMR attempting to fix the mistakes of the original and create a masterpiece. However, in attempting to do that, they ended up creating completely different problems. One of these problems was the characterization of the characters in the mod. Let's start with Monica.
Oh shit, here we go again.
In the original exit music, Monica is a complete bitch to everyone due to MC, Sayuri, and Natsuki unintentionally ruining her plans for the festival. She lashes out at everyone and even exposes Yuri's arms to MC. However, in the second half of the mod, she realizes the error of her ways and proceeds to try and fix her relationship with her friends and tries to get Yuri help. EMR also attempts to have a conflict with Monica and the club by having her coddle Sayuri too much? Damn, I didn't expect that one, but okay.
You know what? It is what it is. It is what it is!
Sayuri, just like in exit music, tries to game end herself, and Monica tries to set up a small little party for her when she inevitably comes back to the club, since in Redux, Monica actually cares about her friends more than herself.
I beg your pardon?
She, however, tries a bit too hard to make Sayuri feel safe and comfortable, and that makes the entire situation awkward. Monica seems to not entirely know how to handle people in Redux, and is very cautious, maybe even too cautious, around Sayuri as to not push her back to 360 no-scope neck roping herself.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Redux treats this as a bad thing. At the end of the party scene, Sayuri goes home early since she doesn't want to be treated as she's made of glass. After she leaves, Natsuki proceeds to berate and absolutely shit on Monica for Sayuri leaving. She does this even though at any point during that time, either Natsuki or MC could have pulled her aside and told her to stop being so careful and to just act normal. But instead, all the blame is pinned on Monica and she's used as a scapegoat. And this is used as the reason for the club disbanding.
Hey, boy, ain't no fucking way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
I am not making that up. They use this petty argument as the crux of the conflict between the entire club. An issue so insignificant that could be solved with a simple chat, but isn't since no one in Redux talks to one another. And this is a major issue throughout the entire mod. Monica may have her flaws, but she's genuinely the second best character in this mod behind Sayuri, but they treat her so badly to the point where it becomes absolutely infuriating. If you got me of all people saying that Monica was treated unfairly, then you know you fucked up somewhere.
Get that son of a bitch off the field right now. Out. He's fired. He's fired!
Yuri was given an even worse fate than Monica, being constantly hated on by Natsuki for caring about her friends, if you can believe that. Yandere Yuri from Exit Music was a big point of contention for that mod, so of course, Wretched Team wanted to fix that issue. Although, it seems like they had no idea how to include Yuri into the story in any meaningful way, so they didn't. They decided to make her a background character for a few scenes, and maybe give her about 5 minutes of meaningful dialogue, and that was it. But hey, I would rather be written almost entirely out of the story than be a spineless simp with a massive hero complex that has a heart attack whenever something doesn't go his way. And that is your MC.
Beta!
That is who you're playing as for 8 hours. Everything that Natsuki tells him to do, he does. Anytime that he tries to tell her anything that she doesn't like, he folds like a lawn chair. But if Natsuki is in any presumed danger, he'll try to move heaven and earth to protect her. Except he doesn't and just has his 8th heart attack at the assumed presence of Natsuki. It's so bad that one night MC and Sayuri are going on a stroll and he sees a car that looks like Natsuki's car and immediately drops to the ground. Sayuri literally has to carry his ass back to her house. That is how pathetic this guy really is. Even with Monica being mistreated by nearly everyone for no reason, a Yuri that is non-existent, and an MC whose pussy is constantly bleeding, there is one character in Redux that is somehow worse than all of them combined. and she just happens to be the Juliet of this tragedy of a mod. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. They completely fucked up Natsuki in Redux.
Pause.
When writing a Romeo and Juliet type story, you want to make sure that the two characters at the center of the story are at least somewhat redeemable by the end. Not only did Wretched Team not do that, it seems like they went out of their way to make Natsuki as unlikable as humanly possible. And it all starts right after Sayuri returns to the club. One of Natsuki's and MC's favorite pastimes is to get into random screaming matches. One of these is about how to handle the Natsuki situation. You see, throughout Redux, Natsuki is treated like this mysterious boogeyman that everyone is terrified of. Kinda find it strange to be scared shitless of a character that doesn't get a single second of screen time, but I digress. Since the two of them are afraid that Natsuki is gonna break in one day and default dance and teabag their corpses, MC comes up with the idea to just go to the cops. Natsuki is completely against the idea despite being a walking, talking, punching bag and evidence of her dad's abuse. You may be wondering why she doesn't want to go to the cops and get rid of this menace to society once and for all. Well, we get the reason as to why towards the end of the mod, and it's actually two reasons. Trauma, and the other one that was given more emphasis in the mod, pride.
What the fuck?
I kid you not, that is a legitimate reason she gives as to not lock up her deranged father, with her literally saying that she doesn't want to be looked at as the helpless, abused girl. She does say that she doesn't want to relive the trauma in court, but that reason is completely invalidated since she doesn't even want to press charges in the first place. Because if she does, people will see her as a victim of a heinous crime, which to Natsuki is apparently a bad thing, since she needs to keep the tough tsundere act up, and doing so will fracture her fragile ego. You may be starting to notice a pattern of Natsuki having a very specific worldview and getting pissed off at whoever so much as slightly threatens it. Remember who was the one to hate on Monica? That's right, it was the pink-haired gremlin herself. And even though her dad is in police custody and is all but guaranteed his very own jail cell, Natsuki still cannot get over the fact that MC called the cops. Even though Natsuki broke into his house, trashed the entire living room, poured gasoline on the floor, and attempted to set the place ablaze. Even knowing all of this, Natsuki still mauls and seethes at MC.
You are coping and seething.
What makes this even better is the fact that she will turn 18 in just a couple of weeks. So by the time her dad goes to trial, she could have just moved to the next city and never looked back. But instead, a few days later, when MC returns from giving a statement to the police, he finds that Natsuki has game-ended herself in his closet. Even though Natsuki had multiple ways out of this mess, she decided to end it all since this is Exit Music Redux and that's the only way the story can end.
I am having a very bad day. I am in no mood. This, today, is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
Now, I want you to guess just how Natsuki Games ends herself. Is it A, hanging, B, slit her wrist, C, overdose, or D, she pulled a Yuri? If you guess any of those, you would be wrong, and she actually chose the Epstein way. Now, it may just be me, but this just seems like a stupid and very inefficient way of game ending yourself, which is why I actually have a theory about this. Hear me out. What if Natsuki didn't game end herself and instead Natsuki broke out of jail and murdered her and placed her in the closet to make it look like a game end? Nah, that would require Wretched Team to come up with something clever with the story, which they clearly cannot. Now that we got to the end of Natsuki's annoying and toxic life, let's honor her life by looking back on some of the greatest Natsuki's a bitch moments in Redux.
Let's go! Let's go!
Natsuki makes it her mission to defend Sayuri from being coddled by Monica as if Sayuri is unable to speak her mind. This leads to the dissolvement of the Literature Club as Natsuki protests Monica's actions as if she did something seriously wrong. But this just makes Natsuki look like a total hypocrite because she criticizes Monica for coddling Sayuri, but ends up doing the same thing by not letting Sayuri tell Monica herself. Natsuki multiple times threatens to head back home and wait out the final month and not face the wrath of her father. As stated before, MC suffers from extreme anxiety, and Natsuki does it anyway, and whether intentional or not, always gets a rise out of him. And finally, and probably the most damning of them all, Natsuki knew that her dad knew where both MC and Sayuri lived, and didn't bother saying anything until over a weekend. To make it worse, she decides to mention it in a note because she doesn't have the ovaries to say it to his face, which honestly might have been for the best because he probably would have had a heart attack. The reason she tells him in a note is because she planned on leaving town, but MC catches her at the door and they argue about what the right thing to do is, and I think you get the point. Natsuki in EMR is an annoying, selfish, toxic bitch that I still don't know why MC simped so hard for.
Hey, sex?
No. We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
I know the EMR fans are going to say, but what about the side stories? They show that Natsuki actually cares about her friends. And what I will say to you is, if you need to play through what is essentially DLC to prove that Natsuki is just a flawed protagonist, then that just proves that Wretched Team royally fucked up when writing EMR and decided to add that in to save face. Because at the end of the day, her actions speak volume about her character. It doesn't matter what she was thinking. What she did and said throughout Redux was enough, in my opinion, to completely ruin the mod. Because the last thing I want is to experience a relationship with a girl that is so blinded by her own hubris that she is unable to see the light at the end of the tunnel, despite being just mere steps away from it. As a result, ends up dragging everyone she loved down to her level, causing nothing but pain and anguish along the way. Maybe that's what Wretched Team was going for. In Exit Music, Natsuki and Yuri were the villains of the story. And in Redux, instead of Yuri being the villain, it was Natsuki herself. As much as I want to believe that's what they were going for, I know it wasn't. Wretched Team wanted to create Exit Music but better, but the only thing that we got was a truly disappointing remake. Redux was a mod that I really wanted to love. As a huge fan of the original Exit Music, I was hyped for this mod. I was one of the most hyped for it. I was ready for what I and many others believe would be the greatest mod ever made. But instead, Wretched Team decided to make something flashy and grandiose instead of just something great. I could have talked about many more problems Redux has, such as how it took MC a full year to end it all instead of a week like in the original. And in front of Sayuri nonetheless. Come on! But I feel like that would be beating a dead horse at this point, since as of the time that you're watching this right now, Wretched Team has officially disbanded, with all the members either moving on altogether or joining the rebranded team to work on original visual novels. But even from the grave, Wretched Team occasionally still finds ways to fuck with me, such as copyrighting the credit song in their last ever mod, Project Wintermute. Thanks, Wretched Team! And to anyone watching this video on October 10th, I want to propose a toast. To the death of Wretched Team!
To the death of Wretched Team.
Death to Wretched Team.
To death of Wretched Team.
To the death of Wretched Team.
Happy EMR Day, everyone! May we never be cursed with another mediocre mod like EMR or Wintermute ever again. Haha! And as always, until next time, so long, comrades!